Iced coffee is much more than hot coffee poured over ice. Around the world, it can be shaken, whipped, slowly dripped, mixed with tonic, or even served with ice cream. Here are 10 refreshing styles. Greek frappé. One of Greece's most famous drinks was reportedly created because someone could not find hot water. In 1957, Dimitris Vakandios was working at the Thessaloniki International Fair when he wanted his usual instant coffee. With no hot water available, he shook the coffee with cold water and ice instead, and accidentally created the Greek frappé. Instant coffee, sugar, and a little water are shaken or blended until they form a remarkably thick foam. The mixture is then poured over ice and topped with cold water or milk. Its lasting foam and leisurely drinking style made the frappé a symbol of Greek cafe culture. It is less a quick caffeine stop and more an invitation to sit down, relax, and make one coffee last all afternoon. Eiskaffee. Order iced coffee in Germany, and you may be surprised when it arrives with ice cream instead of ordinary ice cubes. Eiskaffee literally means ice coffee, but in this case, Eis also refers to ice cream. The drink became a familiar summertime treat in German cafes and ice cream parlors during the 20th century. Chilled coffee is poured over scoops of vanilla ice cream, then crowned with whipped cream. Chocolate shavings, cocoa, or a wafer may be added on top. As the ice cream melts, the coffee becomes creamier and sweeter, gradually changing from a drink into something close to a coffee sundae. It's served with both a straw and a long spoon, because calling Eiskaffee only a beverage would be unfair to the dessert hiding inside it. Japanese flash-brewed iced coffee. Unlike cold brew, Japanese flash-brewed coffee begins with hot water. The method became associated with Japanese coffee culture during the 20th century and is often linked to the country's Kisseton coffee houses. Hot water is poured over freshly ground coffee, but instead of dripping into an empty container, the coffee lands directly on ice. The hot water extracts the coffee's aromatic oils, acidity, and delicate flavors. The ice then cools it almost instantly and provides part of the water needed for the finished drink. This creates a cup that is bright, fragrant, and refreshing rather than the heavier, smoother taste associated with cold brew. It sounds like a contradiction. You use heat to make better iced coffee, but sometimes the quickest route to cold begins very hot. Oliang. The name Oliang comes from Teochew Chinese words commonly interpreted as black and cold. Chinese migration helped shape this distinctive part of Thailand's drink culture. Traditional Oliang is not always made from coffee beans alone. Its roasted mixture may also contain ingredients such as corn, soybeans, rice, sesame, or other grains and seeds. The dark mixture is brewed through a cloth filter, sometimes called a coffee sock, producing a strong drink with smoky, roasted flavors. It is sweetened and poured over plenty of crushed ice. Plain black iced Oliang is the foundation, while related versions may include condensed or evaporated milk. Many iced coffees try to taste smooth and delicate. Oliang proudly tastes dark, toasty, and strong enough to survive both sugar and Thailand's tropical heat. Espresso tonic. Espresso and tonic water may sound like a cafe experiment, and that is almost exactly how the drink began. A frequently cited story traces it to Oslo in 2007, where the future founders of Sweden's Kopi Roasters encountered the combination. They later placed a version called Caffè and Tonic on their cafe menu in Helsingborg, helping it spread through Scandinavian specialty coffee culture. Tonic water is poured over ice, followed carefully by espresso. The difference in density can create dramatic amber and transparent layers, while the carbonation produces a light, sparkling texture. Tonic's sweetness and quinine bitterness meet the roasted flavor of espresso, often with a strip of lemon or orange peel. It looks like a cocktail and drinks like a coffee soda, but it contains no alcohol, only enough bubbles to make espresso feel unusually playful. Mazagran. Mazagran is frequently described as one of the earliest iced coffees in history. Its story is connected to Mazagran in Algeria during the 1840s, when French colonial soldiers reportedly drank coffee mixed with cold water to cope with the heat. The drink later traveled to France and developed several regional forms. Today, Portugal is particularly known for versions combining strong coffee or espresso with ice, sugar, and lemon. Some recipes use lemon juice, while others add only a slice or peel. Mint, sparkling water, or even rum may appear in variations. The citrus cuts through the coffee's bitterness and makes the drink taste lighter and brighter. Coffee and lemon may initially sound like two breakfast ingredients that accidentally collided. Mazagran proves they have been sharing a glass for a very long time. Cold brew. Cold brew feels like a modern coffee shop invention, but people have been extracting coffee without hot water for centuries. Its early history is not completely settled. Accounts often connect cold extraction to Dutch traders and to Japanese brewing traditions, while modern commercial cold brew expanded much later. In 1964, Todd Simpson introduced the toddy brewing system in the United States, helping make the method practical and repeatable. Coarsely ground coffee is soaked in cool water for roughly 12 to 24 hours, then filtered. Because heat is absent, extraction happens very slowly. The result is generally smooth, concentrated, and less sharply acidic than hot brewed coffee chilled over ice. Cold brew requires almost no action once it starts, just coffee, water, and the patience to accept that tomorrow's drink must begin today. Caffè Shakerato. No single person is known to have invented the Caffè Shakerato, but it became especially popular in Italian cafes during the 1990s. Its name combines the English word shake with an Italian ending, which is appropriate because shaking is the entire performance. Fresh espresso, ice, and usually sugar or simple syrup are placed in a cocktail shaker and shaken vigorously. The drink is then strained into a chilled cocktail glass, leaving the used ice behind. Shaking cools the espresso quickly, mixes in tiny air bubbles, and produces a smooth layer of golden foam. The result looks elegant and cocktail-like, although the classic version contains no alcohol. Italian bars commonly serve both espresso and cocktails, so the Shakerato lets the barista briefly become a bartender and gives espresso a much more dramatic summer wardrobe. Iced Einspänner. The original Einspänner was not iced and was reportedly designed for 19th century Viennese carriage drivers. Its name refers to a carriage pulled by one horse. According to the traditional story, drivers could hold the reins in one hand and their coffee in the other. A thick topping of whipped cream helped insulate the hot coffee and reduce spilling. The modern iced version preserves the dramatic cream cap, but serves strong coffee over ice. It has become particularly fashionable in South Korean cafes, where cream-topped drinks are treated almost like edible architecture. The drink is usually not stirred. Instead, you sip the cold coffee directly through the dense, lightly sweetened cream, experiencing bitterness and richness at the same time. It began as practical coffee for Viennese coachmen and returned as one of the most photogenic drinks in modern cafe culture. Phê Sữa Đá. Coffee arrived in Vietnam during French colonial rule in the 19th century, but Vietnam transformed it into something unmistakably its own. Because fresh dairy milk was scarce and spoiled easily in the tropical climate, shelf-stable sweetened condensed milk became a practical substitute. Its intense sweetness also balanced the powerful bitterness of dark roasted coffee, especially robusta. For Phê Sữa Đá, coffee slowly drips through a small metal filter called a fin into condensed milk. The layers are stirred together and poured over ice, creating a drink that is strong, sweet, creamy, and deeply aromatic. The slow dripping is part of the experience. You watch the coffee arrive one drop at a time, then drink it much faster than it took to make. Few iced coffees demonstrate patience and reward quite so clearly. Which would you choose? Foamy Greek Frappé, sparkling espresso tonic, creamy Einspänner, or Vietnamese iced coffee? Tell us in the comments and subscribe to Top Food Explained for more delicious stories.